So, Aileen, now we're sitting here in Holland. It's your first time in Holland, and we spent a lovely week together, but there's still more to talk. So, there's a lot to talk, I guess.
There is, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here in Holland. It's my first time in Holland, and spending a week with you, I've met some wonderful people, lots and lots of lovely connections. So I feel very at home in Holland.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good to hear, because I enjoyed your workshop over here with another couple of people, and you enjoyed my constellation workshop, and this last weekend we did the workshop with Tom Kaipacha Lesher. So it was also a busy week, and during the week we had a lot of talkings about things we are into, and so I would like to talk about some things around the heart with you, because in your workshop you call it
A journey back to self.
Okay. Probably you tell us first something about the journey to self.
So the workshops I've created, and as I say, I call them a journey back to self. And it's using very sort of simple things, but they can be very profound and have quite amazing effects on people. So it's just coming back into ourselves, and it's sometimes just being able to stop everything that's going on out there, and we so often forget about ourselves. You know, there's always so much going on out there. So it's really on the day, on the workshop, it's, you know, leaving everything out there, and just that day and those moments are just for you. Yes. So it's coming back into ourselves, and it's using various things that you start to take notice of, the little signs and synchronicities, and getting in touch with your intuitive self and really what your heart's telling you. Because once you become more aware of things, you become very connected to your heart, and you can feel it. There's no doubt. If there's a sort of, what do I do here? If you come back in and listen to your heart and listen to your body and your heart, they will tell you. Yes. And there's no ifs, ands or but. You know. Yes. You just know.
Yes. We are sitting here in front of this beautiful passion flower, and there aren't any flowers there is one over here in my bag. So I mentioned in your workshop as well that there was a lot of passion around you, and you started this whole journey to self and all those workshops. To be tributing to a special project. Can you tell me more about the project?
Well, I'm doing 13 workshops around the world. I'm not sure where they're taking me. The one in Arnhem last weekend was the third one, and then I go to Mexico. I sort of fly home Tuesday, and on Wednesday I fly out to Mexico. So I'm going back to Mexico, and I will do a workshop there. So one of my journey back to self workshops. But the reason for the 13 workshops, and I'm sort of going into the unknown with this, because as I say, I don't know where it's going to take me. So it's quite, the unknown is exciting. Yes. And you can become very passionate about the unknown. But there's also a lot of fear. We have a fear of the unknown. So these workshops really is what I want to bring awareness to a project in Merida, in the Yucatan, and it's that they're wanting to open a Mayan healing center there in Merida, and so really a lot of the traditions, the Mayan traditions, can be shown, taught, be it art, music, all sorts of things connected to the Maya. So, and when I went to Mexico in February, where we met.
Yes, of course.
It was my first trip, I think our first trip to Mexico, and we had an amazing time there, and I felt very connected. And when I heard about this project of what they wanted to do in Merida, I went back again in May and sort of got you know, a real feel of what was going on, and I just felt this passion in my heart. I felt very, very connected to this project. So so it was with that passion and that I started on this. It's called Aileen Goes Walkabouts. So I'm letting life take me. I'm letting life take me where I need to go. And I'm very excited about it. I get very passionate about it, and it creates this amazing energy when you know, when I talk about it, and so it just feels very special.
Talking about the unknown, also it's the whole process is lots of it. It's unknown. Eh? You told me, but there's also in your workshop there's a part unknown, and I was participant, so I could. It was special to be aware of your own unknown inside the workshop as well, because you did your experiment with the pointillist system, and it was also an unknown going area or so, or an unknown going around.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. So tell me a little bit more about, or us a little bit more about the pointillist system, because it's so special in these days. I guess we are living a new way of living, and in a new way of living, there are some new things needed, and one of them is probably a more quick or more just centered, direct. Yes, that's the thing. Straight to the point. There is where you need to go, and that doesn't need lots of time or just. So tell me a little bit more.
So with the point system, it was something I was given. I call them sometimes waking dreams, or where you connect to something. I sometimes see like pictures. So it was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I was being told and shown this system. And it was working on points of the body. Yes. It was working at a very deep level. It was DNA, molecular structure, all those words that I sort of go into a bit of fear. You know, so you think, oh, what's all this about? And it was, and at the time, they said, you will know what to do. And I'm thinking, well, I really don't know what to do. But when I sat down and I quieted myself and sort of looked, I did know. I just knew what points to go on somebody's body, whether I was working on a picture of a body, so I would work on that, and then I started sort of moving out with it with friends and family, and sometimes I would work in this way, sometimes I would work on somebody's body. But it was always very quick, like we say, it was very quick and very to the point. So I called it the pointillist healing system because of the art form of pointillism, where it's like, it seems like random dots, but actually when you step back and look at all those random dots, you have a beautiful picture. So it was, and with this work, it feels like you're working on random points, but actually you're working with the blueprint of the whole. So, and it was you actually that said to me, would you do a demonstration of the points in your workshop? So it was like, you know, immediately I said yes, and then it was like, oh dear, how is this going to work? So we did a session, I did a demonstration where I think we had about 8 or 9 people, and it was literally being able to go from one to the other, and it's minutes. And then maybe there's certain information I'll pick up or something will come, but it's always very relevant. It's to the point. There's no, what do you call it, flowering it, you know, because it's very direct. And I have experienced working with a group of people, but not in a group, what I call my workshop situation. And the interesting thing is, and at the start of it, I just said, oh, sometimes you will feel, although I'm not touching you, you will feel it. And sometimes the people around, you'll start to feel the energy and start to pick up things. So when I'm doing it, so I go into my space where I'm just focusing on everybody and going through it. And then I finished and it was like, right, that's it. And then it was the expression on the people's faces. And they were saying about how, well, amazing and profound it was, and how they could feel the energy, how they could feel it in their bodies, even if I wasn't touching them. And then the ones that you know that this one you have to physically do it on their body. And I know I did it with you. And it's, no, she needs, I need to touch, get to her point there. And gentle. But it was so interesting because I'm not putting a lot of pressure on the person when I'm working, but in my but in my ears I can hear this, and I'm saying, can you hear it? Can you hear it? No. And you said afterwards you could feel it really sort of penetrating and going in. So it was an amazing part of the workshop, and now I can thank Dinka and Holland because I will be incorporating that now as part of my workshops. So it's should be. So like you say, it was an unknown, but out of that unknown has come something which feels just so right. Yes. It just feels so right, and it's another way that I can get to work with it more, and I suppose sort of get it out there a bit more so that people can experience it.
Yes. And this whole series of interviews is all about, in Dutch of course, it's leven, and it's not a good translation, I guess, but it's more about taking your guts for life. And I guess when you're following your heart, it also needs a little bit of guts, because it's not usual that the people around you are supporting your things, or they are giving you the big applause because of your movements, or because of the fact that you are listening to your heart. So I know in your life there were also a lot of moments when you're very challenged by really stay there close to your heart and really be true and honest to yourself. There was also a lot of loss in your life. And the first time when we spoke about it, it was in the bus, I guess, in Guatemala. It was like sitting, but it was a very special conversation for me, and for me it was very inspiring, because the things you told me about your life and your way of the non-attachment, or the things I was really in shock about the things you told me, and the people not the people, the person I just had learned, because, you're so alive. And I guess it's important, that's the reason why I wanted to interview you and all those other people. It's not about preaching the things, how to do so, but it's more about showing how to live from the heart. So I'll ask you before if it's okay to talk about, because it's also painful for you, I guess. But you said yes, so if it's still fine, tell us a little bit more about your experiences in life.
It was in 1990, my youngest daughter died of cancer. She had a brain tumour. So going through that process,
What's her age?
she was 12.
Yes.
So going through that process where your heart is broken, and the physical pain of that loss, it shatters everything. And I had those moments a few weeks after she died. I felt I was a very strong person, but it literally brought me to my knees. And there was just one particular day when I was on my knees, and I was saying, I can't live anymore. I cannot go on. Basically, I want out of here. It's too painful. It hurts too much. And I actually found a poem that was under her bed, and I read the poem, and it was a poem called Me. And can I recite it?
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I probably can, because
you did it before, and it's such a beautiful thing.
So the poem is called Me, and it is: as long as I live, I shall always be myself and no other, just me, like a tree, willow, elder, aspen, thorn, or cypress forlorn, like a flower for its hour, primrose or pink, or a violet, sunned by the sun and with dewdrops wet. Always just me, to the day come on, when I leave this body, it's all then done, and the spirit within is gone. So I always say that poem's wisdom, and she wrote it when she was 11, you know, and I always say it saved my life. It saved my life, because how can you read something like that from a child, really? So it was something, I guess the reason I can recite it is because I've recited it to myself so many times over the years. But that gave me strength, it gave me hope. It started to feel that my heart could be healed, that I could. There was an opening that I could recover. And that also sent me on a journey after those few weeks on wanting to understand some of the things that went on in her illness, which you probably think, some people might think a little bit, doo-doo. But there was this energetic connection. It's like I knew what she wanted. We could speak without words.
Yes.
And she would say, when you put your hands on me, I have no pain. So I wanted to find out what this is all about. So that sent me on a journey, which was to do with, energetic healing. So it's sort of like through Reiki, massage, all those things. So it sent me on a journey, and then I became a therapist. So I used to work with it all.
But first of all, you're healed your own.
It was, and that whole process was to sort of heal my heart, and then like you come out of it with a bigger heart.
Yes.
You have more compassion, less judgment. So that there's all those things that process with her. It's almost like you can live or you can die, basically.
There's no grey in between.
And then sort of I wanted to live. I wanted to live because I wanted to live because of her.
Yes.
That is part of my life. That's an experience I've had. But I didn't want to die. I wanted to live.
Yes.
I wanted to sort of have the passion to be, and to move forward.
Yes.
So that's really, was the start of it.
Yes. Because I know it was the start of it, because you were challenged twice. How unbelievable.
I know. And then in 2003, my oldest son died. And that was, I saw him in the morning and said, I'll pick you up the next day because he was coming to lunch. And that was the last time I saw him that morning because he died that evening. So it was another thing, you know, it's how can I deal with this? How you know, not again, not again. And it was also the difference. It's almost like I'd had a blueprint with my daughter. Yes. So you had this sort of base. But then there was what I found such a big challenge was the fact with my daughter I went through the process and her death was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You know, I can't look back and say, because it was so beautiful, her passing was beautiful. But this was a new challenge for me because it was instant, gone.
Less what it is, but
you know, so it's you know, how do you deal with this? So I must admit, it wasn't that I wanted to sort of get out of here, you know. I knew that I could, you know, I could work through this. I could work through this
because of your previous experience of
yes. So but as I say, it was like a different scenario. But what I did is, at that moment in time, I put all my healing work, all that side. I just had to put it. I thought I can't do this. I really can't do this because I don't understand.
No, it's a big why.
You know, I don't understand why this is happening. You know, what's it all about, really?
Yes.
I never had the thing of why me. That wasn't it. I couldn't understand this process that was going on in my life.
Yes.
So everything went aside, and I couldn't work in that way. So, and it took maybe, I would think, 3 or 4 years before I started feeling that I was, you know, getting on with my life. I was doing, you know, all the things that you do in life, but I couldn't connect to that spiritual part of me for a few years, and then things started to change. You know, I started doing a little bit more work, and I started getting back into the healing. The points came along, so again, it's almost like the points were. It's not like my saviour, but it was something again that I could focus on and to work with. So and that was exciting, and then I could feel this passion again, and then I realised actually that then your heart becomes bigger. It's your through those events in my life, your heart becomes bigger. Yes. That's the only sort of way I can really describe it.
Yes. So there came no answers to the questions why these beautiful people died, but there is an answer how you can live with it or not.
I don't have an answer. You know, I don't know why.
You found your answer.
I found my answer in the gift.
Yes.
Their gift.
Yes.
You know, I look at that they will always be part of my life, but I look at the gift of their lives.
Yes.
You know, that nothing's in vain. You know, there is a bigger purpose. You know, we don't always know what the bigger purpose is, but I think, you know I am the person I am today because of that. And so I have great love and passion for those children, for the gift that they gave me. Yes. So when you can get that understanding, when you can sort of It's like we say, you choose life or you don't choose life. But for me, I chose life, and it was through them that, you know, I said it was through them and those processes that make me the person that I am today, and that through them, really, because of those situations and what happened, then my capacity to come from my heart and that's part of it, I think. So I guess in one sense I have found an answer.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. And so that was the most inspiring thing, I guess, because before I knew these stories of your life, I was only enjoying your great full power of passion for life, and you're so much alive. So then again, and we talked about it, you told me as well that you don't want to be your story, or don't want to be personalized with this story, but I think it's very important to know for other people that there is an answer when you really choose in life. So thank you for sharing that part, because it's very personal as well.
Yes, I know when you ask me, it's like you say, it's not that I don't want to share it, but for me it's it was my personal life.
Yes.
And like you say, it was that was it. It's my personal life. But it was when you said to me, would I speak about it? It felt very right to speak about it, because actually I hadn't looked at it how you were looking at it.
Oh,
you know?
what was the difference then?
Well, I hadn't looked at it like you were saying, that we connected, we had fun, and I like to laugh, and I love life. But when you said to me, would you talk about this? And there was this immediate thing of yes, and then it was like,
Sure.
I'm not sure about this. But then when you said, what, my enthusiasm, my passion for things and for life and for travel, I love travelling, and meeting people, it gave me a different view on it. That, like you say, that you can have these events in your life, but, you can embrace them, that you can embrace them, and still have passion in your life, for life.
Yes.
So thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just about sharing, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yes, in this beautiful week, it was such an intense week as well,
Yes.
with such a great conversations and such great experiences all over the places. Yeah, it feels very special to do this talk as well, because I think it's really important to share also the personal stuff, not in a way of, oh, poor me, or but just in the way it is. And the way it is, look up her. She's full of life. So thank you, really thank you for that.
As you say, it feels right. The timing's perfect.
Okay.
The timing's perfect. Yes.
As always.
As always.
As always, the timing is perfect. So probably because this is your last day over here.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Eh?
We have the sun.
Yeah, we have the sun.
It's
so
been
that's
very
good.
cold.
Yes.
Believe me, it's been very cold.
We always remember the sun.
Yeah.
So you're flying back to England tomorrow, and then the day after tomorrow you you're
on
flying to
Wednesday.
Mexico.
I go straight back.
So that would be another experiment or an experience.
Yes.
Also doing your workshop over there. Are you including over there as well the pointillist?
I am.
Oh, really? Oh, good thing. Yes. Good
So
thing.
yeah, it just felt like I say, it just feels right now to include it. It really does.
Yes.
So and the other thing I want to say is that here in Holland, this was my first workshop that I'd actually done where English wasn't the native tongue.
Yes.
But it was really a wonderful experience because everybody, you know, that they got it somehow. That you know, if I think there was only one occasion when somebody didn't quite understand a word, and I think you just clarified it for them. But everybody sort of supporting everybody else, and it was just the most amazing time for me, and how, you know, you often don't need words, that you can just you just feel it, and on, you know what's going on.
Yes.
So
yes, because probably I'm the best example of speaking very bad English, but but it doesn't matter because there is another language, and that's all about energy. And if you can feel the energy, yes, sometimes it gives a little bit trouble to find the real words or to say it like your heart is feeling, but in a way it will be understood by the other. So that was also a new thing for me to experience.
yeah, it was, and I will always remember this thought, because my workshops are fun. They're light. I you know, I just want the lightness really there, and
yeah, you were dancing like a fairy.
I was just thinking, somebody sort of said she looks like a fairy, so I was dancing around the circle, but it was not something I was conscious of, but obviously it was the observation of others, and I thought, oh, a fairy, you know. But then it's that lightness as well, that you can do things in a light, playful way, and it still have you know, you like you say, you get it. It's not so intense then, and you get it in a very light, fun way.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
so I will always remember being told that I look like a fairy.
So we both know that this was the first time that we know, but we also know that it isn't the last time you're here. So I can't wait to see you again over here, and maybe I come to the UK.
And I want you to come to the UK,
so
because
there will be more.
Yes, there will. Guess. And I had an email from somebody I actually don't know here in Holland, saying,
exciting, isn't it?
please tell me the next time you're back in the Netherlands.
Yes.
So that's pretty amazing. That was really, really special this morning to receive
that's
that.
The way it goes.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward, as I say, to coming back, and I'm looking forward for you coming to England and do some of the work you do, because it was a new experience for me.
Yes.
So I can't wait to get you back into England, or come to England, so we can work together.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Thank you for now.
Thank you.